All right, so number 1 on the warm-up said to find the standard form of the equation of the hyperbola with foci -1, 5, -1, 1, vertices -1, 2, and -1, 4. So I'm going to start with the foci, -1, 5, and -1, 1. And this tells me already that it's what? Vertical or horizontal? Vertical. It also lets me get my center, right? The halfway point between these two, which is -1, 3. So I already know it's a y minus 3 squared minus x plus 1 squared equals 1. Then I got to find my a and my b and my c. So the fact that I have the foci tells me c is 2. Then the other piece of information that's given is that the vertices are -1, 2 and -1, 4. So my hyperbola looks like that. And that just told me that my a is 1 because the distance from the center to the vertices is 1. So this would go over 1 squared or 1, and actually you don't even need it. You can go back to y minus 3 squared. But again, if c is 2 and a is 1, I can use c squared equals a squared plus b squared. C squared would be 2 squared equals 1 squared plus b squared. 4 would equal 1 plus b squared. B squared would equal 3. And that goes in the denominator of the second fraction or with the x. Again, you don't need the over 1. If you put it, obviously, I wouldn't mark it wrong, but you don't need it. It could be y minus 3 squared minus x plus 1 squared over 3 equals 1. That would be the standard form of this hyperbola. Questions on that? So just like with ellipses and circles, you want to be ready to get any kind of combination of information. It could be vertices and covertices. That gives you the A and the B. It could be this, vertices and foci. That gives you the A and the C. It could be covertices and foci. That gives you the B and the C. Okay? It could be transverse axis length. That's going to give you the A. It could be conjugate axis length, and that would give you the 2B. So just be prepared to get any kind of information from what we've been given. Okay, number 2, put the equation in standard form, identify the center, vertices, foci, and asymptotes. This time we've got to complete the square. We have an x squared and an x and a y squared and a y, so we're going to do it twice. We're going to group together the x squared and the x. We're going to group together the y squared and the y, and we're going to bump the 43 to the other side. Then I want to take out what's on the x squared, so I'm going to take a 9 out, and I get x squared minus 2x. Leave that space because we're going to fill it in. I want to take out what's on the y squared, which means I'm taking out a -4, and that -4 is going to change the sign of both the y squared and the 16y. Then I complete my squares. So -2 just 2 divided by 2 is 1. 1 squared is 1. I'm going to add the 1 here. And normally I add it here, but I have to multiply it times the 9 first. So I'm actually going to add 9. Repeat that process with the y. 4 divided by 2 is 2. 2 squared is 4. Add that here. Normally I add it here, but I'm going to multiply by a -4 this time. So I'm actually subtracting 16. So my x becomes 9x minus 1 squared. The y minus 4, y minus 2 squared. 43 plus 9 is 52. Minus 16 is 36. Now it's not set equal to 1, so I got to divide everything by 36. And I get x minus 1 squared over 4 minus y minus 2 squared over 9 equals 1. Here's the standard form of the hyperbola. From here, I can identify my center to be 1, 2. Is this vertical or horizontal? Horizontal, because the x comes first. The a squared is 4, which makes a2. The b squared is 9, which makes b3. So So it says find the center. We did that. 1, 2. Find the vertices. So I'm going to plot my center. 1, 2. I'm going to go, because it's horizontal, right and left the 2, which is your A. And those are my vertices. -1, 2, and 3, 2. To get the foci, oh, actually, it's probably going to, when it asks for the vertices, it means vertices and co-vertices. So let's do that too. Co-vertices. I'd go up and down the 3. So I added and subtracted the 3 from the y coordinate. So the x stays as 1. 2 minus 3 is -1. And 1, 2 plus 3 is +5, which matches the points we just plotted. To get the foci, I have to do c squared equals a squared plus b squared. C squared would equal 4 plus 9. C squared would equal 13. And c would equal the square root of 13. So I don't have to graph it, but if I did, I'd estimate it to be like a 3.5-ish because it's in between 9 and 16. But what I do need to do is add and subtract the c from the x coordinate of my vertex, of my center, because I'm moving right and left. So the foci is going to be 1 plus and minus square root 13, 2. And then the asymptotes, y equals k plus and minus, it's horizontal, so it's b over a, x minus h. Y equals k, which is 2, plus and minus, b is 3, a is 2, times x minus h, which is 1. And there's your asymptotes.
We just leave it like that?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You do not need to simplify that. If you want to graph it, obviously you can put it in y equals mx plus b format, but you could also just leave it like this. Just shift your point to get the center, which is at 1, 2, and then your slope would be a +3/2 and a -3/2. But like I said yesterday, I think it's easier to do the box.
If you simplify it, can you show which numbers it is?
So it would be 2, well, you'd have plus and minus, so you'd have to split it. 2 plus 3/2, x plus, nope, minus 3/2. I'll go back and simplify this, and then you'd have 2 minus 3/2, x plus 3/2. And then this is 4/2. So y equals 3/2, x plus 1/2. And y equals, this is 4/2. -3/2 x plus 7/2. So slope intercept form would be that. But again, you could totally leave it like that.
Can we just do the box then?
Not if it asks for the asymptotes, you got to give the equations. The box is fine for graphing it, but if it asks for the asymptotes, you got to write them out. Any other question on this before I move into the homework questions? All right, so this one was number 3. Sorry, this was you just asked for the asymptotes. So I found the center is -6, 4. I found that it's horizontal. The A was 12, the B was 5. I went right and left the A. I like on the left-hand side estimated it because it went too far left, which is 12, and then I went up and down the B, which is 5. So then the asymptotes would be y equals the k, which is 4, plus and minus, it's b over a because it's horizontal. The b is 5, the a is 12, and then it would be x minus a -6, which becomes x plus 6. So if you...
So you don't distribute the 5/12?
You don't need to, but let's see if you did. 5/12 x plus... It would be 5/2, and then 4 minus 5/12 x minus 5/2, and then this is 8/2, y equals, it would have been 5/12 x plus 13/2. Oh, that one you got right. Y equals, this would be 8/2, so it'd be -5/12 x plus 3 over 2. So look, you're just missing the 12.
Oh.
Yeah. That's fun. I'm sure that was frustrating. I apologize on behalf of WebAssign. Just one little digit. All right, this one is the complete the square one. So I started to group it. There's only an x for the x squared, so you don't need the x squared and the x. So you're only completing the square and the y. But you have to take out a -4, and when you take out the -4, it changes the sign on the 16. So then when we take the -4 divided by 2 squared, it's 4. I add the 4 in here, and I multiply it times the -4, which means we're going to subtract 16. So I get x squared minus 4, y minus 2 squared equals 16, and then you divide everything by 16. So it should have been x squared over 16 minus y minus 2 squared over 4 equals 1. The rest of your answers are obviously right, though. Good.
Yeah, I just
Okay.
forgot to carry the negative sign.
I figured I would have put money on that one. Yeah, okay. That's the most common mistake made. Okay, so if you are at home, again, I'm going to remind you that now we're going to have a discussion about your project, so you keep your cameras on and you earn those points. And actually today, I don't care what your excuse is, you're keeping your camera on because I need to know that you're hearing me describe this project. All right, so this is called an interview project, okay? The goal here is for you to get to know a little bit about what math is like in college, and also start to establish a little bit of a plan budget-wise for when you get to college. So this is going to have like relatively different significance if you're sitting in front of me as a senior or you're sitting in front of me as a 10th grader, okay? So I'm going to go through the overall expectations, and then I'm going to show you a sample of the stuff that you're going to turn in. So this is, again, it's a whole different module. I just made it its own module. It'll say interview project module, okay? It is under modules, and it's going to be on your to-do list, but obviously it's not due until April 14th, so it's not there yet. So this is the initial document, okay, that says your project is to interview a current college student or a recent, and by recent I mean within the past 5 years. Your responses to the interview questions below could be in either paragraph form or question answer form, or in some sort of a presentation, a video, whatever it is. You could be as creative as you want. You need to, if you're writing it in, if you're typing this out, it's got to follow MLA format for headings and for the works cited. You must also include a course description for the math course that you interviewed the student about, a sample 8-semester track for the major that you are interested in, a budget of your expected costs, and a works cited. And again, I have examples of all that stuff. So the first 5 questions, actually the first 14 questions, you are going to interview somebody, okay? I want you to communicate with them. I don't want you to send them these 14 questions and ask them to email them back to you. Okay, that's not the point of this. The point of this is actually get an account of what it's like. And so to do that, you want to be able to say, what does that mean? What does that look like? You want to have a conversation with somebody. I've been doing this for a bunch of years, and I will tell you that a lot of if you put the effort into it, people get a lot out of this project, okay? It's not just a grade. So the first thing you're going to do is just identify the person you interviewed, okay? And then what's your relationship to them, and what college did they attend? So here's an interesting story. If you interview the same person as a friend, that's totally cool. But make sure your responses are your responses. So for example, don't do this. A couple years ago, I got one that said, I interviewed my brother Jacob, and then all the answers to the questions. And then immediately after that, from a friend, I interviewed my brother Jacob. Exact same answers to all the questions. It's a dead giveaway because I actually knew Jacob and I knew his brother. Yeah, that was fun to explain to mom of friend, okay? If you don't have a brother named Jacob, don't write, I have a brother named Jacob, and here are his answers. Their answers can be the same, but when you get to your answers, they need to be different, okay? So if you know the same person in college, it's okay to both interview them. I would do it together. All right, what's your major, or what was your major in college? Did it change, or do you think it might change? And if so, why? What made them choose that major? What profession will they or did they pursue after graduation if they're already working? Will or did this profession require you to continue education beyond a 4-year degree, for example, a master's, med school, law school, etc.? How many math courses did you or will you take in total, and what are or were they? So you're just going to list them there. So if they took pre-calc, calc, and stats, you're going to list pre-calc, calc, and stats. If they are an engineering major, obviously you're going to have a much different list. Okay. Now have the student that you're interviewing focus on just one of the math classes that they took, preferably college algebra, pre-calculus, something close to what you're doing. Okay. So if it's pre-calc, college algebra, calculus, that's fine. Okay. If they didn't take one of those, then you can do stats. It doesn't matter. What's the class that you're focusing on is the first question. How many hours did they meet for lecture? So these things might be very different if you're interviewing a current student that started last year, because these might be very different types of environments. It might completely be digital, which is fine. Wrap it around that. How many hours did they have to spend watching videos? How many hours are they in a math lab? Those kind of things you want to find out. How many hours did you meet for discussion? So UF called them discussion classes. Other universities call them labs. It just means a smaller environment. So for example, when I went to college 800 years ago, okay, my math class was in a huge auditorium. I literally sat in the chairs in an auditorium. My teacher stood at the front of the room with her overhead projector and taught to hundreds of us at the same time. And there you are at the back of the room trying not to get distracted and take notes and understand what the heck they're saying. That was 2 days a week. And then other 2 days a week, I was in an environment like this with a TA, a teacher's assistant. So it's a graduate student that obviously knows how to teach math or help with math. And I could, in this small setting, ask questions based on what they covered, okay? So that's what I mean by lecture, big hall area kind of thing, or discussion. It might not be that way. It might be 1, fully digital. 2, it might be that you're in a setting like this all the time because you're in a smaller university or college, okay? So all of these change depending on who you're interviewing. How many students were in the lecture? It would have been hundreds for me. How many were in the discussion? Probably about 20 for me. But again, those are going to be different. How many assignments were given? Were they optional or checked for a grade? So did they have homework? Did they have, nope, here's what you can cover and you're on your own? Or was it checked? How many hours were spent each week on these assignments and or studying? How many exams did they have in this class? What format were the exams given? Multiple choice, short answer, etc. And what was the weight of the grades? Was it 25% work, 25% midterm, 50% final? Is it 50% midterm, 50% final? Like that kind of thing you're going to find out. Questions so far? Okay, let me see if it's going to let me hold it up here, because every time I let go, it scrolled up. Okay. Answer the following questions based on your interview. Now, this is your responses. Are you interested in attending the same college as the person you interviewed? If so, why? And if not, where are you interested in attending? So as a senior, obviously, this question's a little bit more set in stone. As a sophomore, this could be somewhere you're literally just interested in attending. It doesn't mean that in 2 years I'm going to come back and yell at you because this question changes, okay? Are you interested in the same major or something similar? Why or why not? What did you learn based on your interview? Are your plans for college set? If yes, what are they? Have you thought about the career you want? If yes, what is it and how did you choose it? And what did you learn from creating your budget? So these, you put one-word answers, you're going to get one-word points, okay? So think about your responses to these questions. Obviously, they should be full sentences. I feel silly saying that, but they should be. It's not a nope, period. That's not like capitalized. I'm not going to get you. I'm not the grammar police, but I do know how to write a sentence with the word I being capitalized and you being like a word, Y-O-U, not you. B-C does not work as because in a written response. You laugh, but it happens, okay? So just watch things like that.
You don't read it and be like, oh, Broward College? No.
Yeah. You could do, that would have to be B, capital B. All right, so then the budget. Your budget should include, this is your budget. So all the expenses from class fees, books, supplies, housing, driving expenses, foods, and extra. State how much each is and how you plan to pay for these. And note that your income, again, crazy concept, should be equal to or greater than your expenses. So if you're saying you're spending a boatload of money, you have to figure out a way in which you're going to cover that boatload of money, okay? And again, I'll show you an example of that. All right, questions on that one so far? Let's see if I can zoom out. There we go. Okay.
Are you allowed to put like right pictures?
Yes. Yeah. That's a good question. I'll actually jump to the budget first. Okay, so I'm actually gonna do, if you can get these numbers as much as you can today, and tomorrow, I'll walk you through how to create this in numbers. Okay, it's so easy. They have a sample budget. It's already color coded and everything for you. You just have to fill in the little spaces. So, but you got to figure out these numbers. Okay, so I actually just researched UF, and I researched it like when I did this project the first time, and I researched it yesterday, and everything has doubled in price. So I updated the prices. This is current tuition, books, and like all the stuff for UF. But obviously you want to pick the university you're planning to look at. So if you're going to Nova, if you're going to UM, these are going to look like different numbers. If you're going out of state, these are going to be very different numbers. If you're going to like Broward College, it's going to be different numbers. Those are the things you just want to make a decision on in the next couple of days because it will help you start to do your research. And again, doesn't mean it's set in stone. It's just like, what would be your first choice, okay? So the top is the money in, the bottom is the money out, okay? This is just how numbers did it. I probably would have reversed it if I started because the numbers, the money out is what you need to focus on to do the money in. So 2 semesters. So all of this is an annual budget, 1 year. Okay, 2 semesters at UF is $6,380. They estimate books and supplies to be $890 for the year. Housing to be just shy of $6,000. Transportation, including parking and gas, about $1,000. Food, think about what you eat. Okay, if you're gonna Uber Eats your every meal, that number is gonna be larger. If you're gonna go out, or if you're gonna live off of ramen noodles for the year, that number is gonna be very different. And then personal expenses. If you know that you get your hair and your nails done every other week, that personal expense is gonna be larger. If you know that you're gonna go to the movies, go out to dinner, go to do those things, those personal expenses are gonna be larger. If you stop at Starbucks every day on the way to class, that personal expense is gonna be larger, so think about it. So notice the total at the bottom is like $19,410. So at the top, scholarship, so when I got Florida Bright Futures, and it covered tuition and books. So that would have covered the 2 of those combined. And then I did work. I don't know if I made $10 an hour because that minimum wage was different then. But you would have to have, if you worked a job, how many hours, and do not think that you're gonna be able to work 50 hours, okay, and still go to college. And do not think you're gonna be making $30 an hour. I've seen that one too. Good luck with that as a college freshman, okay? And then a loan or help from parents is obviously income. If you have another scholarship, you know. If you have prepaid, all of that goes in your money in. You've got to make sure your money in is more or equal to your money out. And then numbers actually does that little graph for you. So again, I'll show you how to do that tomorrow in class. You just want to start working on those numbers. Questions on budget? So if you are going to a local university and you're living at home, then your housing would be 0. That's fine, okay, unless your parents are making you pay. What you want that to be like, you want to go home and actually have a conversation with your parents about what it looks like for you in college. And if you're a 10th grader, you may not have had that conversation. Do you have prepaid? Is that something your parents have set up for you? Are they going to let you live at home? Will they help you with money? This is stuff that could be a really good conversation. If you're a senior, hopefully you already had this conversation, but if not, it's time to have it. Okay, you're running out of time. All right, so then the other things that you need to turn in that are literally like a Google and find are an 8-semester track, which each university calls this a little bit different. For UF, they call it an 8-semester track. It is basically just a mapping of the courses that you would take depending on your major. So if you are going to be an aeronautical engineer major, okay, then you're going to go to the website of the university you want to go to, and you're going to search for the courses for an aeronautical engineer, okay? And it should be laid out like this. Semester 1, and what courses you need to be taking. Semester 2, and what courses. Semester 3, and so on and so forth for the 8 semesters, if it's just a bachelor's, that you need to be taking. If it's a master's, obviously it's going to be more. If you're going to law school, obviously it's going to be more. That you just need to find, because on this list, I want you to pay attention to the math. So I've had people tell me like they hate math and they're not going to do it beyond this year. Ha 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 ha. Not happening. Unless you're in Calc A, B, and Calc B, C already, and you have those 2 college credits, you're definitely taking math in college. There's no degree at a university that does not require 2 years of math. What those maths are might be different, okay? But they are all going to require 2 years of math. So notice this one had pre-calculus, then survey of calculus, okay, then stats, even accounting would count as a math, like that kind of stuff. So it's just kind of an eye-opening experience to look at what the courses are that you're going to have to take. Then the other thing that you're getting is the course description, and this is of the course you interviewed the person on. So if they talked about pre-calculus at the University of Miami, then you need to go to the University of Miami's website. You literally just do pre-calculus course description, and it will pull up something like this, which describes the course that they took. Still with me? Yes?
And that goes separate with like the presentation or like.
So you're going to turn into me all one file that's in, so this is the rubric, that's in this order. So you're going to, no, that's not in the order. Sorry, works cited is not the right.
I was like, you want
Yeah, no. I thought I had it on there. Oh, I think it's all the way on the bottom here and you can't see it. There it is. Okay, to be handed in this order. The questions and responses, the 8 semester track, the course description, the budget, the MLA works cited. All the parts to be submitted as one PDF file with the exception of if you're doing something above and beyond. So if you want to create a little cute interview video with your person, if you want to go above and beyond, I will give extra credit for this, okay? But this is the bare minimum. So again, in that order, one PDF, which might mean go to numbers, take a screenshot of your budget, pull it into Notability. Go to the web, find your course description, take a screenshot of your course description, pull it into Notability, okay? But at the end, it needs to all be one file, all PDF, and in that order. Yes. Well, let me turn up the volume because it's really loud. Or not. Hey. There we go. Go ahead. What is the course description?
Yeah.
It's the description of the course that you interview the person on. So if you interviewed a person on their stats class and they went to Florida State, okay, you're going to go to Florida State's website and you literally in the search bar can write, what did I say? Stats course description, and it will pull up a little paragraph like that that says the name of the course, and then it'll give a description of the course. That's it.
Okay, and then for the semester track, it's what, like, we want to major?
Correct. That's a U question. So the budget is a U, and the 8 semester track is a U. The course description is a they, and then the interview questions are mixed.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. I would say if you have a hard time finding the 8 semester track, that's the only thing that really I've had come up in the past, then let me know. I need to know like where it is you're looking and what major you're looking, and then I can help you find that. So ideally, I know you might not interview somebody tonight, but ideally for tonight, what you want to do is do the you stuff. What are you thinking? Where are you thinking you want to go? And start looking at that kind of stuff. And then if parents are available tonight, maybe over dinner, have a conversation about the budget. That would be fantastic. If you know you're going to live off campus freshman year, then look up apartment rates wherever it is that you're going. Because that would obviously be different than a dorm.
The MLA works cited.
Yeah.
What should the
Oh, I'm so glad you just asked that. So the sources on your MLA Works Cited are going to be the website that you go to for fees and 8 semester track. So that would be like one of the web pages, 8 semester track. One would be fees. And most of the universities now, if you literally just type in, like if you want to go to Notre Dame, like Notre Dame fees freshman year, they literally will pull up a page and it will give you a breakdown of what they expect the fees to be. So those are two pages, the 8 semester track for you and the money information for you. Then you want to do the course description for them. That would be a third source. And they are a source. So they themselves, if you Google MLA personal interview, it will tell you how to cite it, okay? They themselves are a source and they need to be included. And it's one of the things that people miss the most. It's on the rubric. Right? Like if you look at the rubric, it'll say missing a source there for number 3. because people will do that. The MLA format's like all or nothing. It should be double spaced. The heading at the top should be your name, like all that good stuff, and then each page should be named. And then the course description, people will do it, but not the one that they interviewed about. Budget, they'll lose points if it's completely not correct. Some of the questions not being answered, obviously those should be obvious. You either did it or you didn't do it. This counts for a quiz grade. So this would be replacing, like not replacing this week's, but remember I bumped this week's to later. So when we come back from break, Monday we're going to review. Tuesday you're going to take a quiz in class. Wednesday this is due, which means you can finish it up Tuesday night, but tomorrow the entire class period is going to be devoted to covering this. So if you do a little bit of research tonight, I can help you with it tomorrow if you get stuck. But I would start to do as much as you can now so you're not like doing this at the end on Tuesday.
This is Chris Weiser. Is there an app that we do the semester track on, or do we just?
No, you find it. Watch.